Hello, hello, hello. How is everybody doing today?
What's up, party people? It's fucking lit-ass Monday. Let's do this shit.
It's Monday, bitches.
Turn up for Mondays.
Turn down for what?
I gotta fix these things behind me. I keep forgetting to do that.
Fix what?
These.
What's wrong with them?
I want to put, like, the little banners. There's Black Lotus, and then
Yeah.
behind that's Baneslayer.
You want to, like, hang them up separately, or?
Yeah, I want to spread them out like your butt cheeks.
Oh, you're pretty good at spreading things out, so.
Oh, it's Jace. And, yeah, Baneslayer.
Yeah, you gave away Lotus Cobra, right?
Yeah, I think so.
You gave it to Steve, if I remember right.
Yeah, that ungrateful bastard. He doesn't care about me.
He took your money.
I love you, Steve. So it's Monday, you guys, and we are here.
You survived the pedal pub.
I did. I am here. Richie is here, though we're a little sleepy puppy dogs today. I'm alive. I actually was. The reason that I think that I survived so well during the pedal pub, and this is a trick. This is a really cool thing for those of you out there that do not want to black out on a pedal pub.
I don't get where the downside of that is. That sounds like a good time.
Well, because if you're old and fat like me and you ingest a bunch of alcohol, you feel really bad for like the next 3 days.
Mm.
You don't know that yet, because you're
I'm
young.
just fat.
Yes,
I'm not old.
Yes, you're young, and so if you play bartender while you're on the pedal pub, then you're spending all your time getting other people drinks, and then you don't have enough time to drink.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They don't have a bartender on there? One of
No.
you guys have to be one?
Yeah, one of us has to be one.
Hmm.
And it was cool. I had a good time. We got to stop. We took a lot of pictures, and the family had a really good time. My sister-in-law, she loved her life, and
Did anybody jump off it?
I did actually.
Oh no! Did you get yelled at?
I did get yelled at. So we were cruising. We were going actually back into park, and my brother-in-law was doing a strip tease for my sister, and so
Your wiener got so hard
well,
that you...
no, I pulled out $100 bill, and I gave it to my sister-in-law to put in his britches, and she fucking dropped it.
Oh.
So I was like, don't drop. You can drop a $1 bill, but we can't be dropping $100 bills. I don't.
Can't be dropping hundos.
Yeah, I don't make that much money, so
yeah.
I had to make sure I jumped off and went and got that thing. So before a downtown Indianapolis bum snatched it up.
What do you think you'd do with that?
I don't know. There's a lot of bums down there.
You're not wrong.
And we were right next to the White Castle. That's like kitty corner from where Gen Con's at.
Okay.
Indiana Convention Center. So it's not a bad area. It's just,
It's indie.
Yeah, it's indie. It's kind of like
Which, not our fun fact, but a fun fact. Kokomo is in Indiana.
Oh, yeah.
From the Beach Boys song? What? I don't know what that has to do with anything.
Is it Kokomo or Kokomo?
It might be Kokomo.
It's Kokomo.
Okay. Point is, it's in fucking Indiana.
Well, I mean, it's a really good song.
Why are they singing about Indiana with Jamaica?
I don't know. It's the Beach Boys, man. Didn't that guy go crazy? I've actually never seen the Beach Boys movie.
I haven't either, to be honest.
All right, so tell us our real fun fact of the day.
All right.
That's what I want to hear.
Our real fun fact is about all these little nuggets, which you probably know most of them. Hypergenesis, too good for modern. Ancestral Vision, previously too good for modern. Living End, kind of a modern staple at this point, I'd say. Mini staple.
Yeah, it's gone. It's gone way out of favor now.
I think it'll be coming back though. No,
I think it's coming back.
There's not many other good graveyard decks. Restore Balance, always a good meme.
Yeah.
Wheel of Fate. There was this. I remember because Steve built it. There was this really weird, as foretold Wheel of Fate, try to kill your opponent with Reforge the Soul deck.
Yes. Yeah, that's really bad.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Really
It was
bad.
it was Waste Not Storm, I think. I think they played Waste Not in that deck.
Okay, yeah. I remember when Waste Not first came out, how excited we were about that card.
I wasn't.
It was just the biggest pile of shit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's actually obscene in Commander, like really, really obscene in Commander.
Okay.
But in any constructed format, it's complete dog shit.
Yeah.
So.
Did I ever tell you? It was when Hollow One was like the big deck, and as you know, I played Hollow One for a little bit.
Yeah.
I really liked the deck actually, and then Phoenix came out and was like the better deck.
Do you think Hollow One's gonna pick back up ever or no?
No, that deck needs Faithless Looting.
Okay. Burning Inquiry is not enough.
No, you
Along
need
with Goblin Lore.
You need another 1-drop, I think, for consistency wise.
Okay.
Maybe I'm wrong. It'd be cool if I am, because that deck's sweet.
Yeah.
I love that deck.
Yeah, I like that deck too.
But yeah. So I remember I was playing Hollow One, and I was like 3-0 at FNM after like crushing a Wednesday, and like I was just running super hot with the deck, and my opponent just goes like, Blood Crypt tap pass. I play a Flameblade Adept. He goes shock in a Watery Grave, waste not. And I call Chris over and I'm like, you've gotta be fucking kidding me. Like, you set this up. And he like looked and he just started dying right in the middle of FNM. He's like, that's great. He's like, you deserve this.
Yeah, that's amazing. They get all kinds of creatures.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm never beating that card.
No, you can't beat that.
No. So.
Was it a, you said Watery Grave and Blood Crypt.
He was playing like Grixis Shadow with main board Waste Knots to contest Hollow One.
Whoa.
When, like, I was, like, one of the few people at Pando that actually played Hollow One.
That's rough.
Yeah. But yeah, so,
Yikes.
that's the Hollow Fun story.
Ooh, I like that.
But back to these. And then the newest edition, which is Crashing Footfalls, came out in Modern Horizons.
So,
has actually been seeing some play in Living End sideboards as a, like, win con that you can win without the graveyard.
Yeah, so Crashing Foothills is the new suspend card.
Footfalls.
Footfalls. I don't even know what this card is.
It makes rhinos.
So it's one green, suspend it for four turns.
Mm-hmm.
Create 2 4/4 green rhino creature tokens with trample. I don't think I've read this.
Card's great. It's like a 50-cent card, but it's great.
Yeah, I would love to. I'd actually really like to play with that. Like,
yeah.
Somehow.
You just play Living End and then you sideboard and Crashing Footfalls.
Yeah, I guess
We'll have to get you on Living End in a league. I think I could see you liking Living End.
Yeah, my brother built it, but I don't know if I totally don't know if I could get down with that deck. It's so memey and it's just so inconsistent. Like, whenever I play, like, I've lost a Living End maybe a handful of times, not even. So I have to have, not lost to it under 5 times, but I've played it against it a lot, and it just seems so inconsistent. And everybody that I play against, when they're playing it, they just rage when it doesn't go off. They're like, God damn it. I don't know. It's a weird deck. It's kind of, It reminds me of Discard. Very similar to how, not how it plays, but just a similar style deck where...
You mean 8-rack?
Yeah, I said Discard.
When you said discard, I just thought you meant discard spells in general.
No, 8-rack.
And that's why I was confused.
My old balls kicked in again. But yeah, 8-rack. So it kind of reminds me of 8-rack where it just can't close. It's not a good closer.
It doesn't have enough coffee?
Yes, it does. It has, 10% coffee.
All right. But, so we've talked enough about these cards. Our fun fact about them is these are the only 6 0-cost sorceries in Magic the Gathering. Kind of a fun fact to go along with our fun fact from last week, where the Pact Cycle is the only instance that costs 0 mana.
Yep.
These are the only sorceries to cost 0.
That's cool. I like it.
Yeah. Which let's find out how many of these cards we have at the old momsbasementgames.tcgplayerpro.com.
My favorite game. All right, I think we looked up every pact last time. Let's only look up 2 packs this time.
That's not as much fun though.
Let's look up this one and Crashing Foothills.
No, because this one's not $1, so I don't think we'd have any.
Okay. Then let's look up, what was the other ones on there?
Let's see if we have any Living Ends.
Yeah, Living Ends too.
Let's look up the good ones.
Okay. I like that idea.
Maybe.
So what's your over-under on us having these in stock?
Visions, I think we're going to have probably at least 2 or 3.
Okay.
Living ends, I think we might have 1 or less.
Okay.
I'd be surprised if we have a lot of living ends.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to have any living ends in stock, but I do think we're going to have ancestral visions in stock.
I think so too.
Man, oh man, look at the internet just burning. Just
potatoing out on
throwing
us.
a wheel.
Oh,
Ancestral visions.
we do have them.
We've got some iconic Masters ones in stock. Looking up stuff on a live podcast. How do you
we
like
have
it?
1.
We got 1. All right.
And then
All right,
living.
We've got to have
And-
0 living ends in stock.
That's such a it's such a casual card. Like everybody loves that card.
Look, your search did not match any products. Nailed it.
All right, let's see if we've scanned in Crashing Footfalls on accident.
No, I've been giving my brother boxes of 50-cent cards.
Yeah,
so he
so,
might.
so there's a chance.
Look at that.
Look at that.
We do.
Oh, would you just look at
Oh,
it?
look at it. We did it. We've got some in stock.
We did it.
All right,
We
so
won
we've got one
at
in
45
stock.
cents.
All right, so you guys, somebody please play Crashing Foothills for me and
Footfalls.
Foothills. I keep calling it Foothills. I love
It's not
it.
a fucking wooded.
I know. And tell me if this card's good or not, because I don't think it is, but it
I think
seems
it's
cool.
good. I think it's pretty.
I would
good.
I just want to put some rhinos into play and just have people's friends having to listen to a story that they just lost to
a
four
bunch of rhinos.
Yeah, I couldn't beat it. They had trample.
Couldn't beat it. It had trample.
Yep.
All right, but let's get to what people couldn't beat, which we'll start with the.
Who's on top this week?
Yeah.
Good. Who's on top this week, Richie?
Well,
Tron.
no, this is
Urza?
just the top 4, but we had Tron, Urza, and Tron in one of the top 4 lists.
Okay, so this was GP Ghent.
Yep.
And
Magic Fest Ghent.
Yes, Magic
Even though
Fest.
it says Grand Prix here.
Yeah, and
Awkward.
I think are they trying? Do you think they're kind of trying to go back to?
Well, I think the whole events are Grand Prix, but you play a Magic Fest at a Grand Prix. I think is what it is.
Okay, so, but yeah, Ghent was
It was Team Ununified Modern.
Yes, and we talked about that last week. That if you wanted to, what that means is that you can play the same 3 decks and the same 75 of all 3 of those decks. You don't have to. Which unified means you cannot share cards. Ununified is you can share cards.
Mm-hmm. Which, for example, like this team had 2 Tron decks that were mirroring 75s.
Yep, they had the exact 75.
The next team to top 4 was Dredge, Wurza, and Stoneblade. This Dredge list, interestingly enough, the ones we've been seeing do pretty well have been playing Tome Scour. This person decided to play Insolent Neonate instead.
Maybe it's good. Remember when I was asking you if I could play that card?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't remember that.
Well, I want to discard a Grizzlebrand to it.
Oh.
And then I want a Goryo's Vengeance back into play.
Yeah, maybe.
Can I do that?
It's a pretty different thing, but maybe.
Just seems slower.
Yeah.
You don't get access to Faithless Looting and draw 2 cards and then make your decision to pitch. You got to have that card in your hand.
Yeah.
Can't dig as deep.
Exactly.
That's why I like Tome Scour. I think that card's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of. There's a sorcery speed, or there's a Tome Scour you can play for black, but it's 1 less card. It's called Memory Sluice. And then there's Stitcher Supplier. Those are the 2 I think I'm a big fan of. But
oh yeah, Stitcher Supplier is the black one.
Yeah. And then so like if you play not them, this. If you play Stitcher Supplier, like these thugs become Dark Blasts, because then you can Dark Blast your
own Stitcher Supplier.
Stitcher Supplier, mill 3, dredge it back. It's like a Golgari Grave Troll.
Ooh, very sexual. I like that.
Yeah, so there's some tricksy things you can get. I definitely don't think like the Dredge 75 has been ironed out yet, but something to keep an eye on. This Jeskai Stoneblade list is pretty sweet.
Yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit about the impact that Stoneforge Mystics is having again today.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll have to. It'll be similar to what Hogak was, where we'll need to consistently talk about it at least a little bit
I thought you were
each
saying
week.
Stoneforge is strong as Hogak, and I was going to tell you to get the fuck out.
No, 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 no. I think that we're gonna have to continue to kind of piece everything together for everybody. And that was one of the things that I talked to Richie about before we started the podcast and said, hey, I think we need to go over Stoneforge today and the impact that it's having, and which deck is the best deck. So
I don't know that there's going to just be like a best Stoneforge cell, though.
yeah, I mean, maybe not. Maybe it goes in a couple different lists.
I think it's like Tarmogoyf, where like you have to be a proactive white bait, or you have to be a proactive white strategy that can also protect Stoneforge.
Okay. With cards like Spell Snare, Mana Leak,
Spell Queller.
Yeah, Spell Queller.
Force of Negation.
Yep.
That's where I think we'll really see Stoneforge shine.
Okay.
Kind of like this Bant Stoneforge list, which I was talking to you about.
Yeah.
I think this list is really promising. It's one I'm not going to play on stream this week, but it's one I definitely want to play on stream at some point in the future. Just like Giver of Runes, Icefang Codal, Stoneforge Mystics. Like, it's just like a bunch of really good cards.
Yeah.
Couple Jaces, Teferis, Spell Queller.
I really like Giver of Ruins, and that's something that I talked about last week with Josiah. Is Giver of Ruins? I think is just going to start showing up more. It's kind of how Force Negation started out, where people didn't really know, like, okay, well, can I play one of this card? Can I play two of this card? Oh God, I really like this card. Can I play 3 or 4 of these cards? And so I think that's kind of where Giver of Ruins is started out. Also, is like people are starting to find that card's very powerful and that they want it in their 75.
Well, the big thing with it is, like, we need to see creature decks for Giver to be good.
Yeah.
Like, Giver's not going to be good in, like, you put it in, like, a blue-white control shell. It's not going to be good, for example.
Of course not, yeah. But, like, I mean, you want to protect your Spell Queller if you're not going to be blinking it. You want to protect your Stoneforge, like we just talked about. And so just the whole entire package of being able to disrupt what your opponent's doing with, like, Teferi Time Reveler here, making things at instant speed, that gives you a little more protection, and allows you to maybe equip a sword or equip a Batterskull or whatever you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think this deck's going to be, I think it's going to be a very big creature deck moving forward. And I don't know, why wouldn't you play? I don't see any Tarmogoyf in here.
Because you're a value deck. You don't want Goyf.
So is Tireless Tracker just more powerful?
It's not
than Goyf?
that it's more powerful. It's just like this deck wants to, like, grind you out. Goyf decks, like, people really misconstrued where Goyf, like, belongs. Goyf is actually, like, more of an aggressively slanted creature. It doesn't, like, Goyf is a vanilla creature. It's not going to gain you any value. It's just there to close and be a clock.
Yeah.
This deck has a clock and, like, it's Stoneforge Mystics, but it's meant to be a value deck. So, like, ETB trigger, ETB trigger, ETB trigger, ETB trigger.
Sure.
ETBs triggers off your lands.
Yeah, and so it's got all the ETBs that he's talking about are Tireless Tracker, Deputy of Detention, Icefang Coddle, and Spell Queller. And so those are the cards that are going to, like you said, generate value.
Yeah.
And whereas Tarmogoyf maybe just doesn't fit in this type of deck, and I can agree with that. But I'd like to see a Stoneforge. I mean, is there a Stoneforge Tarmogoyf deck right now, or no? Are they just kind of okay?
You can play, like, Abzan good stuff, and it's, like, fine in there. It's just not what this deck is trying to do.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So moving on down, then we have the winning team, which was Jund, Urza, which, like, again, like, back to what we were talking about with Tarmogoyf, Jund is actually, and this is something I learned really from Gavin a lot, because he played a lot of Jund for a while. Jund is actually an aggressively slanted deck. That's why, like, Bloodbraid Elf is, like, the big 4-drop in Jund, because it has haste, it pushes a lot of pressure on the board. Goyf is a big body on its own. Lightning Bolt helps close games out. The discard and removal spells are really to just, like, help push through your threats.
Okay. I really like this list. Just looking at it, even, like, I haven't even looked at this list, but just looking over it while you're talking, makes me see that it looks like they put some time into this list, and that this is probably as close as you want to be to a Jund list right now. Let me run over it for you guys. It's got 4 Blood Braids, 4 Tarmogoyfs, 3 Thoughtseize, 1 Lily of the Veil. No, 4 Lily of the Veils, excuse me. Sorry, this is all laid out weird. Collective Brutality at a 1 of, an Abrupt Decay at a 1 of, a Tireless Tracker at a 1 of, 2 Scavenging Oozes, 1 of Seasoned Pyromancer, which I want to talk about in a second, 3 IOKs, and 2 Fatal Push, 2 Kulgan's Commands. Did I miss anything? Oh, 2 Ass Trophies. And that's the main board. And I don't know if I were to play a Jund list, I don't know if it would look maybe a card different in the main board.
I have like 2 cards I'd probably change personally.
So I really like Seasoned Pyromancer. And like you talked about generating value from cards, I think that card is, I wouldn't say it's underplayed so far, but I mean, it's kind of new. And I'd like to see at least a couple copies in the Jund 75, maybe 1 in the main, 1 in the side.
So the awkward thing with it, and why like a lot of people aren't even sure that it's good in Jund, is a lot of the time you don't have things you want to discard to it. Because you have to discard. It's not a may.
Okay.
So like if you Bloodbraid into it while you have like 2 removal spells in hand, you either lose your removal spells or you have to just not cast it.
Okay.
So it can be kind of awkward. That's why it's normally only a 1 of, if at all.
Okay. I think I really like that card. I know it's really good in the Mardu Pyromancer list.
Yeah. But that deck has things it wants to discard.
Yeah.
Like this deck doesn't have any, like, it has Goyf, but like Goyf gets big naturally. In Mardu you have like a lot of things with flashback, like I think it's Smiting Helix is the new one.
Okay.
You have Lingering Souls. You had Faithless Looting at that time.
Yeah. And I mean,
you have Bedlam Reveler you want to fuel.
There's a little bit of synergy with the Run and 6s being in here, so there's 3 copies of the Run and 6, so
yeah,
you can discard lands to it and get them back. So it's not awful, but yeah, it's not like there's nothing like Lingering Souls where you're just like,
yeah,
you know, I'm generating so much value from that.
Exactly.
So
my only issue, the only 2 things like I'm not a big fan of is I personally really like 3 Scavenging Oozes in Jund. I think a lot of your hard matchups are graveyard decks and aggressive decks, and Skoos is just really powerful in there. And I would never go home without like a 1 of Maelstrom Pulse in my Jund main board.
Yeah, I need to see, like, I would probably cut, I don't know.
I'm only on 1 K command main, but I can see wanting to. I would probably like
with all the Wurza that's going on. Does that even help in that matchup?
It's also just really good against Stoneforge, and there's been a bunch of Stoneforge lately.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not huge on this like random brutality in the main. Like I could see just pushing it to the sideboard.
Yeah.
And putting a pulse in. I think this Vraska is probably a little cute in the side. So.
Yeah, I'm sure it has applications, but yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying like the card like is there for no reason.
Yeah, I really like the fact that Ashiok's in the sideboard.
Yeah, Ashiok I actually think is like
the new
something
Ashiok.
You're gonna start seeing a lot more of in Modern.
Dream Render.
As she's good against the combo decks like Wurza. She's good against Tron. She's really good against Scape Shift.
Yeah,
she's good against like the graveyard decks because they are slower now. Mm-hmm. So you have time to play like a 3-drop graveyard hate card.
Yep.
So she's something I see coming up. Maybe like 1 too many copies of Collector Oof, but I think that card's really powerful. 2 Plague Engineers I really like, and Kitchen Finks Huntmaster. This can be like really any other big spell on your sideboard. And the Kitchen Finks is probably just a nod to expecting a lot of burn.
Yeah.
And then, as we mentioned, Wurza. The same lists, the Teferi lists, no green in these lists for Assassin's Trophy, which we've been seeing pretty commonly. Instead, deciding to have more of a backup plan with like the Mentors in the sideboard.
Yeah, so talk about Monastery Mentor a little bit in this list, because this is kind of I wouldn't say it's a new thing, but it's something different.
It's pretty common with Teferi.
Okay.
If they're on the Teferi list, they normally have the Mentor because you have a lot of 0-drops that you can just trigger off it.
Yeah, so you got Mox Opals and Mishra's Baubles. And
your Pented Prisms are basically 0 cost.
Yeah. That's really cool. I like that.
Yeah,
like that a lot.
I prefer the green because Trophy is just a really clean answer. And Teferi isn't super needed in these style of decks, but I understand why people like to play it.
Yeah,
It is just,
it just protects your combo.
yeah. Your combo is kind of mana intensive, though.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you have to play Teferi, hope it lives on 3, then you can play your Urza.
Yeah.
But, because, like, your 2, you always want to be Goblin Engineer. The other thing I've been, like, seeing a lot of people do is go up to 4 Engineers. And this card's just insane in the deck.
Yeah, so that they can just they're like, oh, cool, you blew up my combo? That's cool. I'm just going to play Goblin Engineer, and then I'm going to recombo.
It also just, like, puts Sword in your yard really, like, nice and clean.
Yep.
Because, like, you don't really want to cast that card if you don't have to.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah, that was Ghent this past weekend. Now we're going to move on to a little bit of Legacy, where we'll see the top 8 of the Open in 4-color Control, Storm, 4-color Loam, Izzet Delver, Elves, Jeskai Mentor from our own local Zach Allen. Congrats, Zach. Hogak, which I bet Terrence was excited about. And then Nia Loam.
He was. He messaged me about it. He was excited.
Which
and this is the SCG results from Syracuse.
Yeah, that I thought I said that.
You might have. You might not have.
Oh.
I'm here though.
All right. I wish you weren't. But yeah, so this list is a deck that's kind of it's new to Legacy, but we've been seeing it pop up for about the past month now.
The 4-color control deck.
Yeah, it's basically like the old check pile decks almost.
Yeah.
You got some Baleful Strix, some Plague Engineers, some Snapcasters, Jaces, Renin 6s. The interesting thing about this deck, though, is it's playing Arkham's Astrolabe. So you actually see a lot more basics in this deck compared to what you typically see out of the normal control decks. You know, you see 3. Typically, it's 0 to 2. And you only see 5 actual dual lands in this deck. You see a lot more fetches, a couple wastelands because they work really well with Ren. And then removal spells in Abrupt Decay, some consistency in Brainstorm and Fatal Push, Force of Will, a K Command, a Liliana's Triumph as a nod to Merit Lage.
Yep.
Same with Tyrant Scorn. This card is actually a card I think that's pretty underplayed in Legacy.
Read Tyrant Scorn, Richie.
Yeah, so Tyrant Scorn is actually a War of the Spark card. It's a blue and a black instant. Choose one. Destroy target creature with converted mana cost 3 or less, or return target creature to its owner's hand. So it deals with pretty much every threat in Legacy.
Mm-hmm.
It deals with your Merit Lages, your Gristlebrand's, your Delvers, your Dreadhorde Arcanist, your Plague Engineers. It really deals with pretty much everything in my opinion. I actually really like this card for Legacy.
Did you say it deals with Merit Lage?
Yeah, because you can bounce it to their hand.
Oh, it's return. I thought that was from the graveyard, that second portion.
No, I said
Nice.
return target creature to its owner's hand.
Nice.
God, you don't listen to me, do you?
I'm trying to.
But yeah, then the Astrolabe, as I talked about, Ponders, and then some Thought Seizes. Sideboard's just kind of a splattering of everything from, you know, Pithing Needle, Plague Engineers, Ancient Grudges. The Crop Rotation package, which has been pretty new to pretty much any green-based fair deck. You'll see 1 to 2 crop rotations in the 75 to get a Karakas and sometimes a Bajuka Bog.
Oh.
So that way you can just like bounce their big creatures. Or it even works well. I actually play one in my main of Temur Delver right now because I can get either Wasteland or I have a Waterlogged Grove in my deck.
What's Waterlogged Grove?
It's the Blue-Green Horizon land.
Oh, okay. So you can just draw a card?
Yeah, and I can keep getting it back with Renin 6.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm. So the crop rotation package is pretty new technology that's been really, really good for us fair decks. A Force of Negation as the 5th Force of Will you'll typically see in a lot of these decks. A Hydroblast, which has been picking up a lot because of Renin 6 in the format. 3 Pyroblasts, pretty common to see 2 to 3 of these. 2 Surgicals for the graveyard decks. A Veil of Summer, which is interesting. Maybe a nod to expecting a lot of like the mirror or more fair decks.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 Leovolds for... I could see this coming in against so many decks.
Yeah, I mean, it comes in against Burn.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you draw a card each time they want to burn you.
Yeah, I can't. I have, like... I can beat
I
that
could
card,
almost
it's
argue
just
these
difficult.
being in the main deck.
Yeah. I'd really like to see Leovold just... I don't know. Maybe he's in there at some point, like maybe for like one Snapcaster mage or something, you know?
Maybe. Or, like, I could even see, like, everybody plays 3 Jaces. I
Yeah.
could see going down to Jace.
Yeah, just to play. I mean, I just think Leovold. I don't think
2
Leovold
Baleful
should be
Strix
gone.
seems kind of weird to me, too.
Yeah, that's a weird one. But I mean, maybe he just felt like he needed to go up more on
Yeah, maybe he really wanted, like, the hand
spells.
disruption.
Yeah, I think that's where he was. He was just trying to.
The Astrolabes do eat up a lot of slots, too. Like, having to dedicate 4 slots to this.
Yeah.
But, like, it does do tremendous work for your mana base.
Yeah, it does. Card's really good. I'm
So,
glad they printed that card.
Yeah. Next we have Storm in the top 8, which we'll go over really quick. It's pretty traditional Legacy Storm. You know, you got some lands, a Bayou for your sideboard cards, and a Trop. Then LEDs, Lotus Petals, a bunch of free mana. Ad Nauseam is one of your like big card draws to win the game. Brainstorm for consistency. Cabal and Dark Writ for more mana. Dark Petition as a tutor. Duress and Thoughtseize to protect your combo. Infernal Tutor is a big card because it combos with LED to go tutor anything in your library. A couple Past in Flames to also work like the Ad Nauseam. Ponders and Preordains, and then your Windcon's Tendrils. We've been seeing Storm and Legacy for a long time, so
Yep.
for any Legacy aficionados, this is a pretty common deck now,
Yeah.
I would say.
It's a pretty stock list too. There wasn't anything crazy in there.
Notably in the Elves list, because I sent this to Brandon, he's one of my friends who plays Elves, they're back on the Archon of Valor's Reach in the main, which I really like. It just shuts off so many decks, like you name instant or sorcery, and how many decks can win without those cards.
Yeah, and it just says players can't cast spells of the chosen type.
Yeah, and you just got a 5/6 flyer.
Yep.
That's pretty much it, other than a Nissa Vital Force in the main also in this deck, over a Natural Order. Normally see it in the sideboard, but Natural Order is weaker when you expect a lot of fair decks.
So what does this say about... So Elves is in the top 8 of a Star City Open. What does that say about the fact that people said Elves were dead just as of like the past couple weeks? Because of Ren and 6.
So I was talking to Aaron about that actually, and like sometimes you can avoid matchups.
Okay.
Like especially like you look at this is the largest like day 2 I've probably ever seen at an SCG. It was over 100 players that day 2'd the SCG.
Okay.
It was like 120 players.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of variety. Like you're not always gonna face a Ren and 6 or Plague Engineer deck.
Yeah.
But I also think this guy like so if you go into this guy, you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4 top 8s with Legacy Elves. So this guy knows what he's doing.
Okay.
So that's the other thing with Legacy is you have to be, if you're going to play a deck like this where it's weak against a lot of the format, you really have to know how to play the deck.
Yeah, you just have to be able to, protect your combo and go off when you need to go off, right?
Yeah. Elves isn't so much a combo deck, but like there's a lot of ways to protect your X1s. Like, you can always, if you ever have, which one is it? Is it Quirion Ranger? No, it's the other one. Wirewood Symbiote. You really rely on Wirewood Symbiote when you expect a lot of like removal for your X1s.
Yeah.
Because you can just like keep bouncing your
Yeah,
elves.
because it says return an elf you control to its owner's hand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's cool.
So.
Well, congratulations for the elves people, because now they don't have to think their deck's dead anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So
You
that's
just
good.
have to probably have like 100 matches with the deck.
Yeah.
Zach Allen's mentor list is really sweet. It's basically like a blue-white Stoneblade deck, just instead of Stoneforge, you play Monastery Mentors. And like you got like a back to basics in the main over where like the Batter Skull would be.
Okay.
Couple Magmatic Sinkholes as your red removal. Then in the sideboard Pyroblast. That's about it for the red. Just a light red splash. Kind of like what we see in Miracles sometimes.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about this Hogak list, because this is actually really interesting. So we got 4 Bloodghast, 3 Carrion Feeder, 3 Gravecrawler, 4 Hedron Crab,
Uh-oh.
4 Stitcher Supplier, 4 Vengevine,
Uh-oh.
4 Hogak, some Swamps, some Bayous, some Bloodstained Mires, some Marsh Flats, Polluted Deltas, some Underground, some Verdants, 4 Altar, 4 Bridge, 3 Cabal Therapy, and 4 Careful Study.
4 Alter Dementia.
Interesting enough, this list is not playing red, so no Faithless Looting.
Mm-hmm.
Sideboard, Leyline of the Void, Trophy, Force of Vigor, Surgical, Veil of Summer, Cabal Therapy, and Duress.
So it's just running Careful Study instead in the slot where you would see
Looting.
the Faithless Looting. And what is Careful Study again? Let me read
So it's just a blue Faithless Looting.
Yeah, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards from your hand. Okay, so then they just chose not to go into the third color.
Well, it'd be the fourth color.
Or, excuse me, the fourth color.
Yeah, they just decided to be Sultai instead.
Nice.
Hedron Crab works really well with Vengevine.
Yeah, so this is your basic modern list that was out, just with a few upgrades in Careful Study and Cabal Therapy.
Yeah.
Like
playing, I think the list that Terrence was on, I think these were Faithless Lootings, and then these were Entombs, if I remember right.
Yeah, he's playing. I think he's only playing a couple Entombs, but
Okay.
I really like that. I like Entomb a lot because it allows you to go get some answers that maybe.
And then I think the Vengevines are just like a couple random other creatures, like 4 ofs here. I know he has like a 1 of Anger in the deck, I think.
Yeah, and there's also a 1 of that new Planeswalker that we just talked about that doesn't allow you to search.
Ashiok.
Yeah, there's a 1 of Ashiok in the main board.
Yeah, so interesting with this deck. I would like to hear Terrence's opinion on this deck at some point.
Yeah, I'd like to
Maybe
see.
we can talk to him about it on Wednesday. I think Aaron said he's going to play this week, or he wants to play it in the future at least, so be interesting. Oh, Tariq Patel, actually. That's actually a big name, too.
Okay.
I think I recognize that name. Oh, yeah. He has a bunch of SCG finishes.
Cool.
And then, yeah, just Teamer Delver took 9th, so I'm guessing it probably lost out on Breakers. I wanted to talk about this deck for a minute since it is the deck that I've been playing in Legacy. Notably, I'm not on the Hex Drinker, but a lot of people have been telling me that it's pretty good. I wasn't super impressed when I tried it, but I'm willing to give it a try again at some point in, the more, as we call it, NBC or no bad cards teamer, where, we're not playing Stifle anymore. We're just playing, like, more good cards. That's why you see some Preordains, the Force of Negation in the main. I have, instead of the Hex Drinker right now, I have a Chain Lightning in the main for an extra removal spell to flashback with Dreadhorde. Okay. And I have a Waterlogged Grove in the Fiery Islet slot, so I can main deck 1 crop rotation, and then I still have 1 in the sideboard. Mm-hmm. I just wanted access to 2 copies, personally.
Okay. I played against Hex Drinker this past week when I played in my Legacy League.
Mm-hmm.
And that card's pretty serious.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of how it's just a vanilla 2/1, but if you put 3 counters into it, obviously it's really good. But the fact that, it's sorcery speed, so they can respond to the triggers. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. We'll see.
Give it some time. Maybe you'll like it. Maybe you won't. You don't have to like it.
Yeah.
It's okay if you don't.
Yeah.
I think it's just kind of I think people are still in that mindset of looking at it like an upgraded Nimble Mongoose.
Mm-hmm.
Is what I think people see it as, and I think it's completely different than Nimble Mongoose.
Interesting.
So, because it, like you said, it has its advantages and its disadvantages.
Right.
So we'll see how it shakes up in Legacy. It might stick around. It might not.
Yeah. And then the other thing we wanted to talk about before going on to another event was, where was it? Here it was.
What is it?
Burn in 48th place.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, here we go. You had to scroll down 3 pages. I get it.
Yeah, I had to find it for you, but...
Holy shit. Okay,
so... You can have the floor for this one.
Oh, thanks, Richard. You're the best.
I try.
Okay, so we've got Burn in 48th place. And I don't know how much I like this list because it's a little bit different than what I've been playing as of late. It has 4 guides, 4 Swiftspear, 4 Eidolon, and it has 19 lands. They're not running a Barbering in there, which I am no longer running Barbering.
Yeah, you said you switched off Barbering.
I did cut it because it's pretty rough, even with Wastelanding going on these days with all the new Ren and 6. I think it's just an easy cut.
Mm-hmm.
You also have 2 Pyrostatic Pillars in the main board, which is it's not super uncommon for people to play 6 Pillar. And
just want a couple extra Eidolons.
Yeah, because Eidolon, the effect that Eidolon brought to Burn allowed for Burn to become I wouldn't say such a real deck, right? Because you have to scroll down to number 48 to even find it. Right, and so I'll never say that Burn's just an amazing deck, but it was brought up a lot higher once they printed Eidolon. And Pyrostatic Pillar doesn't attack. Eidolon does. So Pyrostatic Pillar can. I find myself in a lot of matches like this past week when I was playing online, where there were some matches where I brought the card in and it just felt bad.
Yeah.
Because either I didn't draw well, or there was something going on in the game state where I needed a blocker, and I'd wish that had been an Eidolon, or you know what I'm saying. So like, the card can be weird because it just sits out there and it's gonna accrue damage, but it's also doing damage to you. So when you're playing against these really aggressive decks and you didn't draw great, and you're hurting yourself at the same time, that is a huge disadvantage to you trying to be able to win the game because you're moving backwards. It's not one of those cards
One step forward, 2 steps back.
Yeah, and it's not something that generates like all this incremental value like a brainstorm or a ponder. It's a very tough card to play with, and I found myself being that is probably the toughest card that I've played with in my 75 over the past few years is Pyrostatic Pillar, but sometimes it's the most important. So I really like the card, and it's okay. It's just like having the Exquisite Firecrafts in the main. I've had people in the past.
I thought you were crazy.
Yeah, and like even you, like in the past couple weeks, you're just like, dude, what are you doing? Like,
why are you main decking a 3-drop?
Yeah, and if you go back and you watch some of my matches, I mean, this card, I played against God, what was it? It was like a Grixis Pyro deck.
Grixis Pyromancer?
Yeah, this past week. And the only possible way that I could win was to draw my second copy of Exquisite Firecraft. And I actually did. I drew it. And I wrote in the chat, I was just like, ha ha ha. Because the guy was like, because it was game 1. Yeah, it was game 1. And I drew the second copy, and they're like, come on, man. That's ridiculous.
Two Firecrafts in the main. What the fuck?
Yeah, so I do continue to tell people, like, this is probably one of the best cards in Burn. I found a 5.0 list that had 4 copies in the main. And, yeah, it sounds really insane. But if you play against Delver all day and you're running 4 copies of Firecraft,
you're gonna die before you can cast it.
No, you're not. It's probably over for them. This card is just the absolute nuts against them. So the other weird thing too here is that they did a 2-2 split with Riftbolt and Pyrostatic Pillar, and I'm not 100% sure that is correct. Along with they're running 3 Price of Progress instead of 4.
That just seems cray.
Yeah, and that's something that Richie had said. He's not a big fan of that because right now, Price of Progress, it's not only good now, it went through its times where it was a little bit lackluster, but you also have to remember that fundamentally, as a Burn player, you have to have what is called payoff cards, right? So you have to have these spells that are going to do more than just 3 damage. So we have to have all of our cards that do more than 3 damage, like our Eidolons and our Pyrostatic Pillars, our Fire Blasts, and our Price of Progresses, and even now our Exquisite Firecrafts that are going to give us 4 damage. So when you think about Burn that way, and not just the traditional, I'm going to do 3 to you, it allows you to think a little bit more clear and say to yourself, okay, I have to have these payoff cards in my deck because if I don't, I'm not going to be able to get there. And so it's basically you just have to break it down fundamentally, and you can't really look at it like, oh, well, I think I can cut a couple cards and try out these new ones. You just need
these copies.
Yeah, you've got to have those cards that are really, really powerful. And so now the other thing too in the deck was Karakas in the sideboard, and there's 4 Karakas in the sideboard, and that was basically, what was it? They're
ensnaring bridge.
They're ensnaring bridge.
Not bridge from below.
Yeah, because you have to get rid of Grizzlebrand. You have to bounce Emrakul, the Anus Torn. So these are the kind of things that Burn loses to, is those combo decks that are just going to plop in a creature and kill you. Because we can't deal with stuff like that. We don't have Swords to Plowshares. So Karakas is another answer to that. Now, this showed up twice this weekend in 2 different burn decks. So either they're friends or they're seeing this online. I have not seen this because I haven't really looked at results lately online. But I still think it's correct, and Richie and I talked about this earlier today, is we think it's still correct to play
Josh
in
went
Snaring
think
Bridge.
tank for a solid 20 minutes about this.
So I think it's still fine to play in Snaring Bridge because you can't bounce a Tidespout Tyrant, nor can you bounce a Chancellor of the Annex. And in those matchups that you need to have in Snaring Bridge, you've got to have it. I mean, you're still going to lose to Tidespout Tyrant anyways, because they're just going to bounce your Ensnaring Bridge. But I'm just not sure that Caracas, you at least have a chance, you know? If somebody reanimates a Chancellor, you at least got a chance to be able to beat that card.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with Caracas, you definitely don't. So, some weird new tech from Burn players in 48th place of the SCG Open this week.
Crushing it.
Yeah, just crushing it. But we'll see how that goes, and we're gonna move on to Modern.
No,
correct?
the Legacy Classic.
Oh, the Legacy Classic.
Where
all the
Delver.
where all the Delver lives. So there were 6 of the top 8?
6 of the top 8 were Delver.
So we had 6 of the top 8 that were Delver decks, and then we also had the 4-color control list that we just went over, and then we had Omnitel.
Mm-hmm.
So those were the top 8 lists, and there wasn't really anything else in the Classic
Nothing really interesting.
nothing that was interesting. But I mean, now there's a lot of good players in Classics, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've won a Classic, Richie.
Yeah.
So
I'd never casting Brainstorm before that tournament.
yeah, and so that just goes to show you that there's good players in Classics. You didn't even say anything to that? I was buttering you up.
I mean, you know, you're not wrong.
Man.
Delver take Big Brain.
Oh, God. All right. So, what else do we got, Richie?
We got the Modern top 8.
Yeah, what's going on with Modern?
You know, Tron.
Okay, cool.
3 Thragtusks main, which
we talked about that last week, didn't we?
I still think 3 is way too deep on that card.
That's okay. You know, opinions are like assholes, right? You don't have to play 3 Thragtusks. I think that's what we said last week.
I think Ballista is really powerful in this deck. And I think no Ballista's main is kind of interesting to me.
Okay.
I'm not going to say it's wrong, but I think it's interesting.
Now, is there anything in this mono green Tron that won, what is this? This is the Open?
No, this is the Classic.
Classic.
The Open was
the
Legacy.
Open was Legacy. Okay. So, I mean, were there any changes in here that you would make other than the Thragtusk, or?
This is like a heavy meta call. Like,
The
you have to
Leylines?
know the room is going to be like half burn, in my opinion.
Sure. And I mean, you're playing 3 Swagtusks in the main and also 3 Leylines of Sanctity in the side.
And only 2 Nature's Claim. I think this card just is very medium in Tron.
Okay.
I think the black and blue decks are typically going to be your good matchups.
Okay.
So I just don't think you really need 3 Veil of Summer in the deck.
I think Veil of Summer right now, Richie. I think it's new, and I think some people are seeing a lot of good results with it in Standard, also in Modern. But I think that this is another one of those cards where we just have to wait and see if this card's going to stick around, or if it's just a kind of a flash in the pan, and it'll see its way out of the sideboards.
I think some people will even stick with it even if it's not good. I think that's just kind of how Modern works.
Okay.
Like, some people just get stuck in their tried and true ways.
Okay.
Like, I may even be one of those people, but, like,
Sure.
I don't know. This card just... The situations where it comes up, it just doesn't seem fantastic to me. And, like, it's telegraphed super easily because you're just sitting there with a green mana open.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, cool.
we'll see.
So let's see, what else top 8 in this? Grixis Death Shadow, Amulet Titan, Devoted Devastation, which I like that name. That's a really good name.
This deck's really sweet. I think this might end up being one of the best shells for Stoneforge Mystic, because you're not only, you got your Battery Scroll, your sword, but you can actually get combo pieces with this. You can get your Viridian Longbow, which is an infinite damage with Devoted Druid when you make infinite mana with Vizier of Remedies. In some lists, I've even seen playing Swiftfoot Boots. So that way, or not Swiftfoot Boots, Lightning Greaves.
Mm-hmm.
To give your Devoted Druid haste.
Yeah.
So I think this is I think when Stoneforge Mystic can fit into a deck where it is both a backup plan and a combo enabler, I think that is also where we're really going to see Stoneforge Mystic shine.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about last week. I think this is going to continue. Devoted Devastation, I think, is going to continue to be one of the top decks in Modern. I think you're not always going to see it in the top 8, but I think you're going to see it generally in a top 8 because it just has so much going for it. You can turn into a combo deck, or you can just beat people down.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminds me a little bit of being what that old pod list used to be, Burning Pod.
Which is what this came from. The Devoted Company deck, or not the Devoted Company. It went from Birthing Pod to the Malira Company decks.
Yep.
Which, when Vizier came out, became Devoted Company decks.
Yeah.
Which, when Finale of Devastation and Eldamri's Call became Devoted Devastation, which it still is Devoted Devastation, but now playing Stoneforge Mystic.
Man, you just laid some history down. Look at you. Haven't even been playing that long.
I was playing when Pod was around.
Yeah. When it first started out.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, the rest of the top 8. We got another Wurza list in Dylan Donegan. Very good players' hands. Another Amulet list, so nice to see that this deck's back. I know Artie and Steve have been pretty excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
Another Titan Shift, this is the first Titan Shift in this, but Titan Shift is a deck I think we're going to be seeing a lot more going forward. It was always a really good deck before graveyards really took over the format in Blue Red Phoenix and Hogak, and it's one I think we're going to just keep seeing.
I really like the fact that people are playing a one of Monvuli Acid Moss.
Yeah, it's just like an extra rampant spell.
Fucking love that card, man. I love finding that card in bulk. It just makes me so happy when I find that card.
Is it bulk?
It is bulk, actually.
It's not bulk.
Well, no, it's not, but it's always in everybody's bulk because it's a common.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody always leaves it in there. It's a great card.
Yeah, card's sweet. Then rounding out the top 8, we have another Tron list. Nothing super interesting in the top 16 other than this mono white Stoneblade deck.
Yeah.
Which I played something similar to this. My list was a little more cheeky with the Force of Virtue and Squadron Hawks. I'm gonna end up probably giving this list a try, as I really think that there is a mono white Death and Taxes-esque style shell with Stoneforge Mystic that will be good.
Me too, and I can't wait until you people figure it out.
Only 3 Eldrazi Temple seems kind of weird, but I don't know.
They probably wanted to get the right number of Field of Ruin, Ghost Quarter, and Mutavault.
I'm interested in the split of this since you don't have Leonin Arbiter in the 75. I think Field of Ruin, Ghost Quarter is a little faster, but Field, doesn't put you down a land, which I think this style of deck might want.
Okay.
I like the 3 swords that are in the main. I think all of these are very good for this type of deck.
Sword of Fire and Ice, a Sword of Light and Shadow. Is there a sword in the side?
There's Sinew and Steel.
Sinew and Steel.
Planeswalkers and artifacts.
Protection from black and red. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's one of the new ones.
I like that one.
Yeah, so I really like this list. I think there's going to be some type of shell, that mono white Death and Taxes-esque style shell that will stick around in Modern.
Yeah.
Whether it end up being correct to play Stoneforge or it's correct to just go back to Leonin Arbiter, we'll have to see.
Yeah, I think I'd like to see it.
I'd be surprised if it's correct to be both.
Yeah,
because there's
what I was
such a
just about
non-bo.
to say. Yeah, I'd love to see a deck that had both of it in there, but you just can't do it.
Yeah, you were just like, all right, turn 2 Leonin Arbiter, turn 3 stuff. Fuck.
Yep. No, I can't.
But yeah, that's it for top 8, top 16s. So, how about we tell you about what events happening this weekend?
Ooh, baby.
So SCG is actually off for a couple of weeks, so it's just gonna be Magic Fests right now. And if you want to get some more Legacy in, you can head out to Hotlanta, where there's going to be a Legacy Magic Fest this weekend.
Where the players play.
I guess.
Yeah. I like it.
Never heard it called that, but
It's in a song.
is it?
Yeah. Welcome to Atlanta.
Never heard it.
You should listen to it sometime. Ah, you have heard that song.
I don't think I have.
I'll play it for you when the podcast is over.
All right.
But yeah, Welcome to Atlanta. It's a pretty good song.
Where the grass is green and the girls are pretty.
No, that's not it. Yeah, but I was invited to Atlanta. Terrence wanted me to come with him. He's going to stay with family. And so I also had a wedding this weekend. So I couldn't miss out on that. I could have, but I probably would have got grounded, and I don't want Julie to ground me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, got to keep in the good graces of the wife.
For all of you guys that can't see, Josh doesn't have any pants on right now because they're currently on his wife.
They're upstairs. No, well, she went and got her hair done today, and so they're probably with her.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm in my underwear right now.
Yeah.
You don't need pants for a podcast.
Don't need pants for moto either.
No, you don't.
But yeah, that's the event happening this weekend. So if you wanna travel a bit for some Legacy, as I know most people who play Legacy do, head out to Atlanta.
Ew, gross. Wait, hold on. The next 1, 2, 3, 4 Magic Fests in October are all limited.
Yeah, it's because the new set drops.
Ew. I'm excited for the new set, and we're gonna talk about that next week. So make sure you guys come back and.
Maybe 2 weeks.
Oh, before we get all the spoilers.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure when we get all our spoilers. We'll have to keep an eye out.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good.
But speaking of spoilers, we gotta hit the finance. Blood clock.
Blood clock. All right. So I gotta read this because I didn't even read it. All right.
It's 3D.
It's a 4 CMC artifact, and I have never ever seen this card in my life.
You ain't synced it?
I ain't seen it. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player returns a permanent he or she controls to its owner's hand unless he or she pays 2 life. Okay, so this is just going to have synergies with bouncing cards back and forth from your hand, correct?
Yeah, but do you know why it's spiked?
I do not. Tell me, Richie.
So because of the new mechanic in the new set, the adventure, so you can cast it as, like this one, for example, you can cast it as a sorcery, which for 1 green you can create a food token. And then it goes into exile, and you basically will have an adventure pile, which then you can cast it as a creature from your adventure pile. So you can pay your 2 mana, get your 1/3. Then with Blood Clock, you can bounce your 1/3 back to your hand, make a food token, cast it again.
Okay. Is that just amazing?
Amazing enough to make this card spike.
It sounds kind of boring.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool mechanic.
I think so. Do you think that where do you think this will shine at as a pair with them?
Blood Clock or
Yeah, Blood Clock and Curious pair.
Commander?
Commander?
I don't think Curious pair will really see any play, but I think the adventure mechanic will. Just creating a food token and just a 2 mana 1/3 is not very good.
Yeah, no.
But it's a night one. It's the adventure side is 2 black and a colorless at instant speed.
Mm-hmm.
Destroy a creature or planeswalker, you lose 2 life. And then its creature side is 2 black and 1 colorless for a 2/3 with lifelink that when it dies, you put it on the bottom of your library.
Okay.
So, I think there's going to be some good adventures. The next one,
Oh,
let me
baby.
at Travis Hawk, at Gavin Kokenauer, at Brandon Stuck. I don't know if you ever heard this story, but they actually lost at a Team SCG event that was ununified. They
Team
lost
Hakan.
to, Team Hakan.
Team Hakan. Okay, so Hakan Stromgold Scourge. Scourge? Scourge, yeah. Is a 3/3 for 2 black and a colorless. And this is a legendary creature. And this guy's pretty cool. He's a zombie knight, right? So it's the reason that this card popped for all that we can. It's the Dead Knight.
I actually just thought about it and figured out why it popped.
Okay, so we
There's
thought
a
it was
bunch
just
of-
Night Tribal.
It is.
Okay.
But there's a bunch of knights coming out in the new set.
Okay, so people are just super excited about this right
Yeah.
now. So this card, it went from, what do we got here at the bottom there? Went from $6.38 and it's up to $14.
It was at 18.
Yeah, and so it's kind of come back down to earth a little tiny bit, and I think it'll continue to come back down to earth because This card's just not that good.
Look,
I know.
it almost day 2'd an SCG.
I know. This card is good, but it's not that good. So, if you're wanting to build Night Tribal,
I should play Hack on stream 1 week.
if you're wanting to build Night Tribal, wait a little bit because this guy he'll probably be back down to his $6 or $7. So, the next card is
this one's really funny for us because we technically know someone that probably helped with this spike.
Yeah, this is close to home, I guess. And well, let's take a look at when this is doing its spiking. And this card is called Pillar of Perunes, right? And it is a land from Dissension.
Yep.
It says tap, add 1 mana of any color to your mana spool. Spend this.
Are we sewing now?
Spend this mana only to play multicolored spells. So the deck that is really popular right now is 5-colored Niv Mizzet in Modern, and Niv Mizzet is where's he at? Where's that man, Mama? Niv Mizzet Reborn.
Wooburg.
It's Wooburg, so 1 of each color.
For a 6/6 Dargon.
Yes, it's a 6/6 flying legendary creature.
Dargon avatar.
Yes, it's a Dargon avatar, and so it says when Niv Mizzet enters the battlefield, reveal the top 10 cards of your library. For each color pair, choose a card that's exactly these colors from among them. Put the chosen cards into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order.
So something interesting about this card I didn't know until I had it played against me.
Mm-hmm.
You can't take like Niv Mizzet as a color pair. It has to be just 2 colors.
Okay. And so that's why you're seeing all these like...
Is it Charms,
yeah.
Aldamri's Call, K-Commands, Kaya's Guile,
Lightning Helix,
Assassin's Trophy,
yep,
Supreme Verdict, Maelstrom Pulse.
Yeah, so this card is... The deck is very interesting. It's very cool. I'd recommend, if you like to party, do yourself a favor and put this deck together.
Can we get you to play this on stream?
I would punt this so hard on stream.
We'll get Josiah with you.
Okay. We can do that.
Yeah.
I'll ask him to run me through. So, a
This
friend
would
of
be a cool
ours,
one for the YouTube.
Josiah, Josiah Valley, he actually 5-0'd with this just the other day, and that's why I was trying to see when it actually made a spike. So Tuesday. So no, he just 5-0'd with it this past weekend. So
okay.
This deck has been.
It wasn't because of you, Josiah.
No, it wasn't. And so him and I had this discussion this past week because I played against it, and I beat it, but in Modern, and I feel like the deck is a little too slow for the format. I feel like it's a step too slow.
You're a real Debbie Downer on this deck. I think this deck's great.
No, I like the deck. I'm just trying to explain to you how I feel about it, right?
I understand. I don't think this deck's amazing or anything, but I think it's really, really cool.
Yeah, and so you're playing Modern, and all we do every week, we sit here and talk about how the deck's a combo-driven format for the most part. And, you're going to die on 4, you're going to die on 5.
You're going to die on 3.
You're going to die on 3 most of the time, or you're going to die on 4.
Swift Spear, bolt, bolt, bolt.
Yeah, and so when you're only 1-drops in your deck, are Birds of Paradise
and Safe Request,
and a card that no one even knows what that is. Where is it?
Above Inquisition. Below Maelstrom Pulse. In the sorceries.
Safe Right Quest. Okay. Search your library. It's a hybrid green-white. Search your library for a forest or plains card. Reveal it. Put it in your hand. Shuffle your library. So you don't have a whole lot going on until turn 3. Basically, you start doing things on turn 3, right?
Yeah, you can do things on turn 2. Like Is It Charm,
yeah,
Lightning Helix,
you've got Is It Charm,
Trophy.
You've got Lightning Helix.
If your mana's good.
Yeah, Assassin's Trophy. Yeah. So you gotta have a smoothed out.
Oh, you got some Inquisitions for 1-drops too.
Okay, there's Inquisitions in here. Good.
Yeah,
that's what I like to see. Well, 2 of them. Okay. Anyway, so I guess my point is that this deck's very cool, and again, if you like to party, please put this deck together and give it a spin because it's a lot of fun.
Try to borrow pillars if you can.
Yeah, and so Pillar Prunes, it went up from $16, 14, 15, $16, and right now they're at $30. So this is a card
That's too high.
yeah. So this is a card that is up too high right now, and it will come back down because 5-color Niv Mizzet is not gonna. It's not gonna warp the format. I'll tell you that.
But if
right
we
now.
check MTG Goldfish,
No, get out of here. So, but yeah, hold on that. And if you guys have them laying around, usually these I used to see these all the time in bulk rares, and that's when this card was like $4 or $5. So at that point, I'd pull them out and be like, hey, I'm gonna give you like $3 for this card, and now it's 30. So
you're such a nice guy.
it's pretty crazy. Thanks, Richie.
Well, for cheap pickups.
Yeah, so we got cheap pickups this week.
We got chip pickups.
We got Chippa pickups, and we've got Sarkhan Fireblood, which is the Dargon Master.
Which you and I don't actually agree 100% on this.
Yeah, I think this card's kind of a shitter.
I think this card's really cool for Dragon decks.
It is, and that part I do agree with.
Maybe this is a card that could even make 5-color Niv Mizzet a little more consistent. Because it adds 2 colors for dragons.
Ooh, yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah, well, they can't play it because it's not a multicolored spell.
Yeah, but
I
you
think
got
they
other
could
lands in your deck.
Yeah, I think they could still play this
Your
card.
deck's already agreed, pile.
Yeah, why aren't they playing this card?
I don't know. Ask Josiah.
Crazy. Yeah, so Sarkhan Fireblood, he's low right now, so if you guys like dragons, pick him up.
I think he might go up.
Yeah, I think he'll eventually start to go back up. It's a mythic.
I think this card's probably going to stay about the same, though.
Yeah, I think Tezzeret, so the other one that's low is Tezzeret Artifice Master. This card's a real shitter. I'm not a big fan of this card. Just because it's at a 5-drop. And it just doesn't, like,
There's
the Tezzeret...
so many better artifact, like Planeswalkers
or even just
cards
Tezzeret.
in general.
Yeah, just regular Tezzeret is so much better than this card. So this thing doesn't really do a whole lot in the 5-drop blue slot. Like a Tameo or original Tezzeret does. So you're probably going to want to stay away from this card because it's not that great. The other pickup here that they continue to talk about, it's basically been the same. Rishadan Port.
It's down $2, Josh.
Yeah, it's down $2. So I've been talking about this card for a year now, basically since it's come out, and it continues to just be too low. At some point, this card will do what Wasteland has done and start to raise its price back up. So if you guys need ports, pick them up.
I think Port's an interesting one where I definitely agree. I think it's going to go up, but I think it will take a Port deck doing well again.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Goblins is doing that in Legacy.
Goblins, dope.
Yeah. All right, you guys. Well, make sure that you do follow us.
This guy is at Mom's Basement MTG.
Please.
You can see all of our ugly mugs up there.
Look at that. I'm following 1,676 people. I'm a big follower.
Mm-hmm.
Got 312 followers.
You should try being more of a leader.
I know. I've been creeping up a little bit. Got to do a giveaway soon. Like one that'll get me 500 followers.
Good luck.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I can give away something cool.
Well, you don't do giveaways on Twitter, though. You do them on Twitch.
I know. I don't know how... What do you think the reach is on Twitter? You think it's big?
I mean, it gained me 200 followers.
Yeah. I just don't know how big Twitter is these days.
I think Twitter's the biggest social media.
I think it's pretty good. Yeah, and make sure you guys also find old Richard Thompson over
here.
That's
me.
Find him at Richard T MTG. He also I keep messing with him and saying, when are you gonna do a giveaway again? But he's got 370 followers. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's more than the business has. I say that every time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Proud of you.
Yeah. I do my best.
And also, if you guys enjoy watching live podcasts, and you want to see our sweet faces, you can do that every Monday at 5:30. That's when we do our podcast. And if you're watching here on YouTube, you can find us on Spotify. And you can find all the links to everything that we do on every social media platform on momsbasementgames.tcgplayerpro.com. I like it. That was a good ender.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, we will catch you next week. Thanks for listening, and enjoy the rest of your week.
Bye, y'all.